Greetings folks, welcome back to another video in the Seth Show, and as you can see, I finally got a haircut. It's no longer the curly mess that it's been for the past few months, and it's finally a little more neat. Anyway, this video I have for you is going to be very different, very fact-based, a very for your information type of video, and hopefully this ends up looking pretty good. Now, since I'm bored, the school year is yet to start, I have nothing to do except for paces, but we don't really talk about that here. I have been compiling facts, information, details of themes, locations, etc., tidbits of every NSC ever, and hopefully you enjoy it, learn a thing or two, and tune in for another video maybe. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you enjoy what this ends up becoming. First of all, some of you may be wondering, what is the NSC? Well, the National Student Convention, NSC for short, is basically the Olympics for ACE students, with over 140 events ranging from academics, music, arts, platform/drama, and athletics. With that said, here is every NSC ever. Also, most if not all of the pictures, videos, and music I'll be using for this video are courtesy of School of Tomorrow, Philippines, so please don't sue me. Thank you very much. Thus far, there have been 27 NSCs in total, starting with the first one in 1994 all the way to the most recent one in 2019. Since there are so many and still counting, each being unique in its own way and entailing its own stories, facts, and trivia, I've split them all into three distinct periods, being the Genesis period, the pre-modern period, and the modern period. So let's start with the Genesis NSCs. NSC 1994 was held from May 25 to 29 in Cebu City during the time School of Tomorrow Philippines was still called ACE Philippines and was less than 20 years old. Like the NSCs that would immediately precede it, the first NSC had no theme but laid the groundworks for every future NSC to come. Seeing the success of the first student convention, NSC 1995 took place a year later in the beautiful northern city of Baguio. A uniqueness in NSCs 1994 to 95 was that, according to my sources, they were the only NSCs to have a special torch lighting ceremony like what you'd see in the Olympics. Another rarity seen in these NSCs was the fact that the delegates across the nation had to compete in smaller regional conventions very similar to the JSCs of today. NSC 1996 would again take place in the gorgeous city of Baguio, while the fourth NSC to follow that would take place from February 24 to 28, 1997 at Malaybalay, Bukidnon. NSC 1998 was held in Pampanga. Because of the momentous year marking the 1-century anniversary of the Philippines' Declaration of Independence, a very special and solemn candle lighting ceremony was held during one of the rally nights, which might have been the debut of the rare once-in-a-lifetime candle lighting ceremonies seen in only very few NSCs. It is also worth noting that it had been during NSCs 1994 to 98 when there were full parades involving every delegate from every school. This event would be the precursor of what we today know as the Parade of School Representatives, having its debut in 1999, which was held in Bacolod, a return to Visayas after 5 years since the very first convention. NSC 1999 would introduce many features that would make the NSCs so memorable. These include the CAP Awards and the very first Following 1999 was NSC 2000, which returned to Baguio, NSC 2001, which brought the delegates back to Cebu, then NSC 2002, which was held in Lingayen, Pangasinan. Being the 9th convention in total, NSC 2002 had the theme My All, My Best for Christ, introducing the very first in a long line of unique and different themes. Marking 10 years of the student conventions, NSC 2003 bore the theme Celebrating a Decade of God's Faithfulness, and rightly so, since this would mark the first 10 in what has almost been 30 years of NSCs as of the recording of this video. The 10th NSC was held in Marikina, being the first of only 2 NSCs to be held in the NCR thus far. Another very interesting fact about the 10th NSC was the inclusion of several foreign students from one or two foreign schools, at least one of which hailing from China. After that, the 11th NSC would follow with the theme of Reaching Beyond, taking place from January 26 to 30, 2004, and for the second time in Bacolod. NSC 2004 Bacolod would also mark the last of the Genesis NSCs in my book. The 12th NSC, being the very first pre-modern NSC, marked a drastic change in the future dates of the conventions. Prior to the 12th, every NSC had taken place sometime between January and May in the first half of the year. Now, with the second NSC in 2004, every future convention would take place in the iconic month of October for AC students nationwide. The 12th NSC, though, is an exception as it took place for the last time in Baguio City from November 2 to 8, 2004, and displayed the theme, His Calling, My Choice. NSC 2005 would follow from October 24 to 28 in Cebu and with the theme, Carry the Torch. NSC 2006 would return to Lingayen, Pangasinan with the theme, Crown Him King. NSC 2007, the 15th convention, would bring the delegation to Iloilo City for the first time and with the theme Prince of Tomorrow. NSC 2008 comes next with the theme Our Foundation, Our Future for the first and only time in the beautiful island of Palawan. NSC 2009 would bring the convention to Bicol, carrying with it the theme Seek the True Treasure. NSC 2010 would bring the ever-increasing delegation back to Mindanao for the first time in over a decade when the 18th convention, bearing the theme Our Heritage, Our Hope, was held in Cagayan de Oro from October 17 to 22, 2010. This convention had an astounding attendance of 83 schools. The 19th NSC would quickly return to Visayas when it was held in Rojas City, Capiz, from October 16 to 21, 2011, with the theme Matters of the Heart. It was also during this NSC that the very first alumni convention would take place. NSC 2012 would be the first modern NSC due to the availability of more videos and photos. Taking place in Lingayen, Pangasinan from October 21 to 26 and bearing the theme Run the Race, the 20th NSC was definitely a spectacle to behold. NSC 2013 would return to Cagayan de Oro from October 20 to 25. Bearing my personal favorite theme, Stay the Course, the convention had some minor yet notable setbacks. Because of several bombings in the region, concerns from parents and students alike were raised on the safety of the venues. Because of this, School of Tomorrow entered into talks with the mayor and the city government of Cagayan de Oro to ensure safety at all the venues and facilities. Despite the NSC pushing through, there would still be some schools and delegates who would not be able to attend. The total delegation, however, for this year would be 1,249 students from 67 schools. NSC 2014 would go down as the most recorded NSC up till this point due to the numerous available content on the convention across the net, especially on YouTube. Returning to Rojas City after only 3 years, it donned the theme Is There Not a Cause? It took place from October 19 to 24 of that year. NSC 2015's theme would go back to that of time, like NSC's 2003, 2007, and 2008, with the new theme, For Such a Time as This. Being held in Zambales for the first time, it lasted from October 18 to 23 and had a remarkably large delegation, with some sources claiming that it had over 100 schools and almost 2,000 delegates. NSC 2016 would follow in Tagum, Davao del Norte, and with the theme Dare to Dream. Very much like NSC 2013, there were several bombings that took place in the region in the months prior, leading to a reasonably smaller delegation, though no less grand. Lasting from October 23 to 28, the 24th NSC looked incredibly grand in the rallies, especially when it announced the venue of the most awaited 25th NSC. After a long wait, the biggest, grandest convention to date would come from October 21 to 27, 2017 in Pasay City, Metro Manila during the 25th National Student Convention with the most memorable theme, Here Am I. So special was this NSC that no expense was spared. A grand opening rally was prepared, and an extra day was even added to the typical 6-day-long convention period. With the grandeur also came the toughest competition any NSC delegate would face. To celebrate the silver anniversary of the NSCs, special ribbons for the medals were prepared as an extra memento. Being held in Manila, the second time an NSC was held in the NCR meant that more schools and delegates than usual would attend. The total number of schools that attended was over 110, while the number of delegates was nearly 2,000. After the spectacle that was the 25th convention, NSC 2018 returned to its more humble roots, being held in Rojas City, Capiz for the third time in the last decade. It was held from October 21 to 26 and had a delegation of over 70 schools and over 1,000 delegates. With the theme making a difference, this NSC had a slight twist. On Thursday, the 25th of October, the day of the track and field events, all the athletic teams went on an extra road trip from the northern side of Panay in Rojas all the way to its southern tip in Iloilo, where the track and field events were held due to the unavailability of the track at Rojas. This extra side trip would make this NSC that much more memorable. The 27th NSC would take the delegation the farthest north it's ever been, when it was held in the illustrious city of Vigan, Ilocos Sur, with the theme Light Your World. This NSC was unique in many ways, particularly in its date, having taken place from December 15 to 20, being the first modern NSC to leave the month of October. Another uniqueness was how in the first rally night, several schools' flag corps teams were chosen to partake in the opening program. This in itself was rather rare, and how the once-in-a-lifetime candlelighting ceremony was held. The 27th had quite the delegation, with 1,865 students from 92 schools. Also, NSC 2019 had quite a jovial theme song. Yeah, it was very, very fun to sing. NSC 2020 was set to be held in Iloilo City the first time since 2007 from October 18 to 23, with the theme Enlarge the Vision, though because of the recent pandemic, there have been doubts as to whether it will push through or not. And there you have it, folks. Every NSC ever. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, a couple of tidbits of NSCs you might not even have known existed. I sincerely apologize if I wasn't able to get some of these facts straight, if some of the details may have been inaccurate or something along those lines, or if I wasn't able to say some stuff, period. I wasn't able to delve into the details of every NSC as stupendous as I wanted to, but still, it made for a good video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed filming this. Now that's a half-truth. It's pretty hot right now. I'm wearing a collared shirt and yeah, that's a half-truth, but still some truth to it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you tune in to some more videos of the Seth Show. I'll definitely be making more videos on the NSCs. And yeah, hope you had a blast. See you next time.